So Kat and I have been driving an EV now for about 18 months and we've really enjoyed the experience so far. But recently my brother-in-law Dave got a new EV and we were curious to find out what his experiences were like as a first-time EV owner. So we went over to visit them and this is Dave's story. So this is my brother-in-law Dave. Hi, welcome to the channel, Dave.
Hiya, hello.
So Dave is a first-time EV owner and I thought it would be nice to just have a little chat and see what his experience of owning an EV has been like over the last few months, and he can explain how good EVs are and all that good stuff. So, so Dave, can you tell us a little bit about how you came by this particular car?
Yep, so this car is a company car. And so I've taken full benefit of the generous benefit in kind that you get for EV ownership. The company I work for have had a big shift into sustainability and green initiatives. So all of the company car fleet that we have changed over to either hybrids or full EVs, which obviously the Cupra is. So did a hell of a lot of research into it, looked around, as most people do, in terms of options and availability. We're quite lucky that we've got a very, very broad range of EVs available as part of the company car scheme, and that kind of like took me down that route really in terms of the options available. The benefit in kind was a really big sort of driver towards what I was looking at, and then yeah, the research went off from there. What do I like about the car? The car, it's been fantastic. It is fantastic. We're, I think, about 2,500 miles into the car of owning it or having it, and it's just great. Everything about it. The handling is fantastic. I'm getting the range that I anticipated out of it when I first did the research. It does really well for a family of 4, which I was really surprised with, including the dog, which is absolutely brilliant. And it just performs really, really well. I always wanted something a bit smaller, having gone from the Passat estate, so I wanted something more hatchback type, and this just fits the bill. It is an absolutely fantastic car. I love driving it. I love having it. Yeah, it really has. It really has sort of ticked all the right boxes for us. It's brilliant.
So did you have much of a choice of which model to get?
Yeah, so not only with the Cupra Born, every model was available from V1 to V3 and in various specs, but also just range across the whole board. You know, brands, BYD seem to be pushing a lot of the market, so there was a lot of the BYDs available. The Mini range with the Countryman and the Cooper, BMWs, you know, coming out your ear holes. It was, yeah, so it's very generous, and I think when we were looking, there was a broad brush of you know, types and availability of different ranges. So yeah, no, yeah, it was good. It was good to have a choice.
Yeah. So why did you pick this particular model over any of the other options that you had available to you?
So this model's the V3, and when I was looking, because I think like a lot of people when they're venturing into the EV market, a lot of it is range anxiety. I think for myself personally, range anxiety, having never owned an EV or, you know, been in that market before, it made a lot of sense for me to try and get to the V3, because it's the 77 kilowatt battery that we've got in here, which gives me that like slightly extended range on it.
So what range do you get out of this on a
typical
charge?
Real world range, yeah, I think I'm pushing 300.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you charge it up, it's 354.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then real world, I think I'm pushing around 300. Yeah. And we did a trip to South Wales with a car of 4, so that was a round trip of 220 miles for us. It did there, back absolutely fine, and still had 130 miles.
Oh, wow.
On the range. So I reckon probably I might have got about 80 miles out of that.
Yeah.
It is really learning about I mean, it's a whole mind shift, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we found.
It's a massive mind shift in, like, you know, conventional, petrol, diesel-driven vehicles, and coming into this, because okay, it tells you at 354 miles. Okay, yeah, fine. But you know that if you've got 4 people in the car, if you go and put the air conditioning on, if you go and put the heating on, everything just varies just a little bit. And it's not taken that long to really establish how to manage yourself, and how to manage your car and what to expect from it. Yeah,
this is what we found. Once you've lived with it for a couple of months, it becomes the natural, normal thing, doesn't it? So,
So you know your range and you know what you need.
Yeah.
Okay, I can potentially get 300 miles out of this. Very unlikely that your everyday living with a car, you don't need that kind of range. You don't. I work 50 miles away, so I'm travelling 100 miles a day, and I might have to charge it maybe two or three times a week.
Do you charge at home, or do you have a scheme at work where you can charge?
Yeah, so we benefit from having a scheme at work. On all of our sites and all of our offices, we have Pod Point.
Right.
So we benefit from free electricity at work, which is a great perk and a great benefit to have as part of the business. And at home, I've got a MyEnergy Zappi.
Yep.
And I bought that particularly and had that installed particularly because of future potential with PV provision.
Yep.
And if we go down that route with batteries eventually.
Yeah.
It was a lot of research. It was a lot of kind of establish what we could get through the company car scheme, and then ended up with this. It's great.
So would you go back to an internal combustion engine vehicle, having now experienced an EV?
As a primary vehicle, because I, laying the cards on the table, I've still got a diesel transporter, which we love. But she's our second vehicle. I think as a primary vehicle, no. I'm pretty much converted into EV, and like I say, only being 2,500 miles in, it's been absolutely brilliant. There's never been any issue with charging. When we're out and about, we've taken it away for we live in Oxfordshire, so we've taken it to Norfolk on a family break. It was absolutely performed brilliantly. It was absolutely fine. Never any issues. So I think in terms of converting into an EV person, I don't think there's any way back now. It's brilliant. It's absolutely excellent. Very happy with the choice. I've got colleagues and obviously friends and family who have got, you with your EV, but other friends and colleagues with EVs, they're very happy with their choice as well, and that's a very broad spectrum of BYDs and Countrymans and all sorts again, and they're very happy with their choices as well. So I think it's very personal thing, because I always said I used to have a Passat. And I always said my next car was going to be a bit smaller. I wanted almost along the Golf GTI kind of, a little bit hatchbacky.
Yeah.
And when this was released a few years back, it caught my eye then.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in a position then to potentially get into the EV market. And then having the opportunity through the company I work for, it was a no-brainer really.
Fantastic.
And I think it's a great way of getting into it. Because I don't think necessarily at the moment I would buy an EV, but having the possibility of trying it, for a few years, having getting it leased through the business, I think now probably I would go ahead and buy one.
Well, similar to what we did, we leased we've got a lease currently running for 3 years. We're about just over halfway through that now, and it's exactly as you say. It gave us the opportunity to try it out without too much sort of upfront outlay, and I think now that we've had it for 18 months, a bit more than that, we'd be very happy to purchase either a second-hand or a reasonably priced new one. That's exactly the sort of thing. I agree completely that once you've experienced it and it becomes a bit more comfortable, then it becomes a much more viable option to run your life using an EV instead of a petrol car.
I think so, and I think the infrastructure's just it's bringing it onto stream, and bringing it online. There's so many points that now that I've originally it was a bit of a blind spot to me.
Yeah.
But now that you've owned an EV and you know, downloading all the various apps with ZapMap and GridServe and all these various things, I mean, there's so many out there. It's never been a problem, you know, just rocking up somewhere. I mean, the car tells me whether there's a charging point available or not. Yeah. So, you know, just to being able to rock up and yeah, just charge is absolutely, it's not been a problem. It's fantastic.
So we've come out of the cold. It's pretty breezy out at the moment, so we just thought we'd just come and sit in a nice warm car, and Dave's going to explain some of the features on the inside of the Cupra Born that he particularly enjoys.
So I think for me, in terms of driving, and again going back to the whole range anxiety part of it, the B mode, the regenerative braking mode, is absolutely brilliant. I love it to bits. I was a bit apprehensive about it originally, and I didn't really know what to expect from it, having never driven one before, but it actually really benefits my style of driving, and it's absolutely wonderful, particularly when you're going through country lanes, in a industrial, you know, a city, whatever it might be, a town where you're stopping and starting continually. It's absolutely wonderful to get that little bit of additional range as well, and you can really see the benefit over the miles that you've driven and actually the range that's gone off of your battery.
So does this give you one pedal driving? Is that what you mean by that?
No.
B mode?
Yeah, no. So basically, when you're coming into a roundabout or whatever it might be, it's a kind of lift and coast arrangement. So you take your foot off the accelerator, and the car will automatically start to brake. So you get that feel of a drag, and you get that feel. And the way that I generally drive anyway is kind of a lift and coast. And yeah, it's kind of you lift off, you coast in, and you can, it obviously benefits the battery and you know and the range that you've got on your car. So it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, generally the whole feel of this car is amazing.
Yep.
This is actually the 2025 model, which they released into this summer. So I've got a slightly bigger centre console screen, and there's a few other bits on it. So with the previous V3 models, because of the size of the battery, it was only a 4-seater.
Right.
Whereas the 2025, they've actually introduced the rear seat. So you've got the 5th seat in the back, which is, again, nice little benefit. I was prepared to make that sacrifice when I originally placed the order, but luckily I got a 2025 upgrade. Yeah. I love the whole feel of it. I love all of the controls are pretty much, with the exception of the gear selector, are all on one stalk. Right. Yeah. Which took a little bit of getting used to, because everything's here. So your windscreen wipers, your washers, your rear, your everything, indicators, everything's on there. But they've done a fantastic job with the button selection. I think. I can't remember what it's called. Haptic buttons, I think it is. Haptic. Yeah. There was a real problem originally with rubbing up against the buttons, but that seems to have all gone away. Yeah. And these are all backlit now for the 2025 model. That was another thing for the previous models. So none of this was backlit. Right. So when you had at night time, you couldn't actually see your display. Yeah. So now that's all backlit as well. And it's just a great place to be. It's just lovely, just sat here. It's just really nice car to drive. And I'd never had the opportunity to drive an automatic before, and I don't know why people would drive a manual. Well, I get it for the driving pleasure, all that kind of stuff, but, being in it. But my left leg is just wilting away. It's amazing. I love it.
I quite like driving Cat's EV because I've got a slightly dodgy left knee anyway. So in my car, I'm doing gears and I'm getting increasingly annoyed with having to change gears. So I'm looking forward to replacing my car with an EV. But yeah, it does feel nice in here, to be honest. And one thing. Driving Cat's EV, it just feels smooth and refined. Yes. When you switching between my car and Cat's car, despite the fact that my car's it's a smooth car, but it is it's manual. I've got to change gears, and I actually get almost more fun driving Cat's car, even though mine's quite a sporty car. Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward. So for context, I'm one of my top choices for replacing my car is actually the baby brother to the Cupra Born.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the Cupra Ravel, which will be coming out hopefully next year. So I'm looking forward to test driving that and seeing how it compares to having been a passenger in this one.
Well,
so yeah,
if it's on a similar platform to this,
yeah,
it'll be
just slightly
yeah.
scaled down. But otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Having now sat in this one, it's given me confidence that I would enjoy the Ravel just as much. So, yeah.
Should do.
Yeah, brilliant.
Excellent.
If you've been considering an EV as your next car, then I hope that was useful to you. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.